Have you ever stopped to wonder why you keep following the crowd? Why you feel the need to mimic everyone else, even when it drains you from the inside out? There's a quiet voice inside you that has always known the truth. You were never meant to blend in, to fit neatly into someone else's version of life. Every time you copy others, you dim a light that the world desperately needs. That light is your mind, your perspective, your untapped potential. It is yours and yours alone, and when you start honoring it, everything changes. Right now, you have a choice. You can continue drifting in the sea of sameness, or you can decide to embrace what makes you different, to own it fully and let it guide every thought, every decision, every action you take. Imagine waking up each day feeling powerful, confident, and alive. Not because someone else told you that you should be, but because you finally trust yourself enough to act on what is uniquely yours. That feeling is real. It is within reach. But it only comes when you stop hiding behind imitation, when you stop shrinking to make others comfortable, and when you start living unapologetically as your true self. The world will challenge you. People will question you. They may even try to pull you back into the crowd, telling you that your ideas are strange, that your approach is risky, that your ambitions are too big, that resistance is a sign that you are on the right path. Growth, power, and fulfillment never come from comfort zones. They come from standing tall in your uniqueness, from daring to be the voice no one else can be. Every moment you commit to your individuality, you grow stronger. Every thought you cultivate that is truly yours builds clarity. Every action you take aligned with your true self creates momentum that no one else can imitate or steal. Here's the reward waiting for you if you choose this path, a life that feels alive, purposeful, and unstoppable. When you embrace your difference, you stop wasting energy trying to fit in. You stop doubting yourself because you start measuring success by your own standards, not by the approval of others. Opportunities that once seemed out of reach begin to appear because your mind and energy are no longer scattered and your vision becomes clear. People will naturally gravitate towards you, not because you follow trends, but because authenticity is magnetic. Your courage to be different becomes a beacon, inspiring not just yourself, but others to live more boldly, to think more creatively, and to take risks they never thought possible. You have something no one else has, a combination of thoughts, experiences, dreams, and abilities that can only exist in you. When you start living from that truth, the world begins to respond differently. Doors open that others cannot even see. Paths emerge that no one else can navigate. Power grows quietly but relentlessly inside you, building a foundation of confidence and purpose that cannot be shaken by criticism, fear, or doubt. You were never meant to follow. You were meant to lead, to create, to break the mold. The moment you recognize that, the moment you commit to being unapologetically different, everything about your life shifts. Everything becomes sharper, brighter, and more meaningful. And the best part is, the moment you embrace this path, the journey itself becomes the reward, the growth, the clarity, and the freedom to finally live on your own terms. The question is simple. Are you ready to stop blending in and start standing out? Have you noticed how easy it is to get lost in what everyone else is doing? How simple it feels to follow the crowd, to take the path that is expected, safe, and familiar? It lulls you into a sense of comfort. But that comfort comes at a cost. Every time you conform, every time you let yourself shrink for approval, a part of your potential dies quietly. Your mind becomes smaller. Your heart becomes quieter. Your dreams begin to feel like distant echoes instead of urgent calls. Conformity is a trap disguised as security. It makes you believe that fitting in equals success, that approval equals happiness. But psychology tells us a different story. People who prioritize fitting in over authenticity experience higher levels of anxiety, lower self-esteem, and a constant sense of emptiness. The approval you chase is temporary. The satisfaction is fleeting. And yet, many of us trade our uniqueness for this illusion, forgetting that life is meant to be more than imitation. You were not born to follow. You were born to create, to innovate, to live with a voice that is entirely your own. And the moment you realize that the safety of the crowd is an illusion, everything shifts. You begin to see that every time you imitate, you are silently agreeing that your thoughts, your feelings, and your ideas are less important than someone else's. And the truth is, they are not. Your perspective is valuable. Your vision is necessary. The world needs what only you can bring. Once you step away from the compulsion to conform, You reclaim energy that was wasted on comparison, people-pleasing, and fear of judgment. You reclaim clarity about what matters to you and what path is yours alone. This is where real power lives, in the space where you stop following and start deciding for yourself. Every choice made from this place is sharper, stronger, and more aligned with your true purpose. The freedom that comes from rejecting conformity is profound. Your mind becomes a place of focus rather than distraction. Your creativity, long buried beneath imitation, begins to awaken. You notice opportunities others overlook. You feel more alive because you are finally living on your own terms. Neuroscience shows that when people act in ways that are authentic to themselves, dopamine rises, motivation increases, and the brain begins to associate action with fulfillment rather than fear or expectation. This means that the more you honor your difference, the more your body and mind reward you, creating a cycle of growth, energy, and courage. You begin to act with intention rather than reaction. You start to trust yourself in a way that no outside validation can ever replace. And there's a deeper, almost invisible reward that comes from this choice. When you step away from conformity, you begin to influence others without even trying. Your confidence, your clarity, your willingness to embrace the uncomfortable, to stand apart, becomes magnetic. People are drawn to authenticity because it reflects a truth they often deny in themselves. By choosing to live differently, you do not just transform your life. You create ripples that quietly inspire others to find their own courage. Every decision to honor your uniqueness strengthens your foundation, fuels your vision, and reinforces the most important fact: your life is yours alone, and the only standard you need to meet is the one set by your own mind, heart, and soul. This is the path to freedom, power, and fulfillment, the path that begins the moment you refuse to be like everyone else. Standing alone can feel terrifying. The moment you choose to be different, to act according to your own vision rather than the expectations of others, fear rises. People will question you. They will doubt you. They may even try to pull you back into the safety of the crowd. That discomfort is inevitable. It is the price of courage. But here's the truth. Standing alone is not weakness. It is the ultimate demonstration of strength. The human mind often equates solitude with failure, yet science tells us that true resilience is built in the moments we face isolation and uncertainty with unwavering resolve. Every time you resist the pressure to conform, you build inner power. Every moment you act despite fear, you reinforce trust in yourself. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is a deliberate choice to act while fear exists. Every choice to remain authentic, even when it is uncomfortable, strengthens your identity. It is in these moments of defiance against the invisible pull of the majority that your life begins to change. You were never meant to measure your worth by how many agree with you or how comfortably you fit in. Those who truly change the world, who leave a mark that lasts, are not the ones who follow the crowd. They are the ones who dared to think differently, act differently, and stand apart when the noise of consensus tried to drown them out. Each decision to embrace your difference, each act of courage in the face of judgment, reinforces a sense of self that cannot be shaken. Your mind becomes sharper, your vision clearer, your purpose more defined. Every small act of authenticity compounds into momentum, a force that grows quietly but relentlessly. Fear may whisper that you are alone, but you are never truly alone when you are aligned with your truth. The energy that comes from being unapologetically yourself attracts opportunities, allies, and ideas that the followers of the crowd can never access. Isolation is not a curse. It is the soil in which greatness grows. The people who resist, who question, who doubt, are mirrors for the strength that lies within you. Their resistance is not an obstacle. It is a confirmation that you are moving in a direction that matters. When you stop seeking approval, your focus sharpens, your confidence rises, and your creativity expands. You begin to see solutions where others see problems. You begin to act decisively while others hesitate. You discover a rhythm in life that is entirely your own, fueled by authenticity rather than imitation. This is not about rebellion for the sake of rebellion. It is about choosing alignment with yourself over comfort with the crowd. Every choice to stand apart is a declaration. I will not shrink to make others comfortable. I will not dim my light. I will live fully as myself. The reward for this courage is profound. It is freedom, clarity, and unstoppable momentum. It is a life where your actions are aligned with your values, where your energy is no longer scattered in the pursuit of approval, and where your potential is finally realized. It is a life where your difference is no longer a burden to hide, but a power to wield. And the longer you commit to this path, the stronger you become, the clearer your vision, the deeper your confidence, until standing alone is no longer something to fear, but something to embrace. The world may resist, but your mind, your heart, and your soul thrive when you choose courage over conformity, difference over imitation, and yourself over the expectations of others. Have you ever asked yourself what you truly want beyond what everyone else tells you to desire? Most people spend their lives chasing goals that aren't theirs, wealth, approval, recognition, without ever stopping to ask if those things actually light them up. They follow a script written by someone else, and in the process, they lose touch with the fire inside them. But your mind, your heart, and your instincts know what is real for you. They know the path that will lead to fulfillment, the choices that will awaken your potential, and the vision that only you can create. Taking time to understand your true desires is not indulgent. It is essential. Clarity about what you truly want becomes a compass. It guides you when fear tries to paralyze you, when doubt threatens to pull you back into the comfort of imitation. Every moment spent living someone else's expectations is a moment of energy stolen from the life you are capable of building. Your desires are not vague whims. They are signals. They tell you where your strengths lie, what challenges you are meant to face, and what purpose is waiting for you to claim it. Neuroscience confirms that when people act in alignment with their intrinsic values, their motivation skyrockets, their stress levels drop, and their brains release the chemicals necessary to sustain focus and energy. Acting on your own desires is not just fulfilling, it is physically and mentally empowering. Each step you take toward what excites and challenges you strengthens your brain, deepens your confidence, and builds momentum. When you begin to honor your own calling, everything else begins to fall into place. The clarity of intention acts like a lighthouse in a storm, cutting through the noise of comparison, fear, and expectation. Most people never take this step. They never ask themselves what they truly want because it is uncomfortable. It forces them to confront the gap between who they are and who they have been pretending to be. But this discomfort is the catalyst for transformation. The more you allow yourself to explore your authentic desires, the more empowered you become to act decisively. Every choice made from alignment with your truth is a step away from mediocrity and a step toward mastery of your life. Your energy stops being wasted on trying to fit in or gain approval. It becomes focused, sharp, and unstoppable. Your decisions gain a clarity that others who follow the crowd cannot comprehend. The reward for this self-alignment is extraordinary. You begin to experience a life where your actions feel natural, effortless, and powerful. You are no longer drained by external pressures or distracted by what everyone else is doing. Opportunities arise because your focus is clear, your energy is consistent, and your courage is evident. Your life begins to reflect your own standards, your own values, and your own ambitions. You become magnetic, not because you are trying to impress, but because living authentically creates an energy that others cannot ignore. The journey of discovering and acting on your true desires is where freedom, power, and fulfillment converge. It is where difference stops being a risk and becomes a source of unstoppable strength. Every step you take in this direction is proof that your life belongs to you alone, and that by honoring it, you are finally stepping fully into the power of who you were meant to be. Comparison is one of the most dangerous traps you will ever fall into. Every time you measure yourself against someone else, you give away your power. You convince yourself that your worth depends on how you stack up, how your achievements look, or how your life appears from the outside. Social psychology shows that this habit triggers anxiety, lowers self-esteem, and keeps people trapped in cycles of self-doubt. But the truth is, no one lives your life. No one experiences your struggles, carries your dreams, or faces the challenges that shape your growth. Comparing yourself to others is meaningless. It steals focus, energy, and momentum from the one person who actually matters, you. Every time you catch yourself measuring your journey against someone else's, stop and remember that your path is unique. Your challenges are unique. Your potential is unique. No comparison can ever account for that. When you stop comparing, you reclaim energy that has been wasted on envy, doubt, and distraction. You can finally focus on building yourself, your vision, and your life according to your own standards. This is where true power begins, in the deliberate decision to focus entirely on yourself, your growth, and your authenticity. When you honor your own path, clarity emerges. Your priorities become sharper. Your goals become your own, no longer borrowed from someone else's agenda. Comparison also dulls courage. It convinces you to play small, to avoid risk, to stay inside the lines that others have drawn. It whispers that you are not enough, that your ideas are too big, your ambitions unrealistic, your voice unworthy. But this is a lie. Every person you admire was once standing in a place where doubt screamed at them, where comparison tempted them to shrink, and where fear threatened to silence their voice. The difference is that they chose to ignore the comparison, to focus on themselves, and to act with conviction. You can do the same. The moment you stop looking sideways and start looking inward, your energy shifts. It becomes sharper, more focused, more resilient. Your actions start to compound. Your confidence grows because it is built on truth, not illusion. Living without comparison is liberating. It allows you to act decisively, to follow your instincts, and to embrace your uniqueness without hesitation. Neuroscience shows that focusing on intrinsic goals, your own values, desires, and passions, activates the reward centers in your brain, increasing motivation and satisfaction. The more you invest in yourself, the stronger your mind and spirit become. You begin to measure success not by applause or envy, but by alignment with your own purpose. You begin to move faster, think clearer, and achieve more because your energy is not scattered in the pursuit of validation. The reward is profound. When you stop comparing, you stop shrinking, you stop doubting, you stop being distracted by what everyone else is doing. Instead, you grow, create, and excel on your own terms. Your life becomes a reflection of your power, your clarity, and your authenticity. Others may still follow the crowd, but you will move with purpose, strength, and confidence. Your difference becomes your advantage, your fuel, and your signal to the world that you are not here to blend in. You are here to lead, to innovate, and to become unstoppable. Every choice to stop comparing yourself to others is a choice to honor your own potential and claim the life that is yours alone. Being different requires vulnerability, and vulnerability feels risky. It exposes you. It lays your thoughts, your ideas, your true self bare to the world. People may not understand. They may judge, criticize, or doubt you. That discomfort can feel unbearable if you have been conditioned to hide, to conform, to protect yourself from rejection. Yet research in psychology and neuroscience proves that vulnerability is not weakness. It is strength. It is a pathway to deeper connections, greater creativity, and unshakable confidence. Every time you allow yourself to be seen, every time you express your authentic self despite fear, you strengthen your resilience. You build trust with the most important person in your life, yourself. The courage to show up as you are becomes a muscle, and the more you exercise it, the stronger and more powerful you become. When you embrace vulnerability, you tap into a well of creativity and innovation that imitation could never reach. Your ideas, your solutions, your vision begin to flow freely because they are no longer confined by fear of judgment or desire for approval. Cognitive science shows that people who practice vulnerability and authenticity exhibit higher problem-solving skills and original thinking. By allowing yourself to be imperfect, to take risks, and to challenge norms, you create a space where growth thrives. Each act of authenticity is a declaration that your thoughts, your perspective, and your existence matter, that you are not willing to shrink for anyone else. And in that declaration, a quiet but unstoppable power begins to emerge. Vulnerability also rewires your relationships. People are drawn to those who are real, who are willing to be honest about their struggles, their fears, and their dreams. Authenticity creates a magnetic energy that no imitation or facade can replicate. By showing your true self, you not only strengthen your own identity, but you also invite others to be more genuine. Your difference becomes a force, a signal that inspires courage and honesty in those around you. Your life becomes a testament to the power of embracing who you truly are, without apology, without compromise, without fear. The resistance you feel when you step into vulnerability is not a sign to stop. It is a sign that you are growing. It is a signal that you are pushing beyond the comfort zones that have kept you small for too long. Each time you confront fear, Each time you allow yourself to be fully seen, you increase your mental and emotional strength. You cultivate a self-trust so deep that criticism, rejection, or doubt from others cannot destabilize you. You become anchored in your own truth, impervious to the pressure to conform, and free to act with clarity and confidence. The reward of vulnerability is profound. It transforms fear into power, hesitation into momentum, and isolation into connection. It allows your difference to shine brightly because it is no longer hidden. Your ideas, your vision, and your energy become unstoppable because they are aligned with your authentic self. By embracing vulnerability, you step fully into the strength that comes from being unapologetically different. You no longer live for the comfort of others. You live for the fulfillment of your own potential. And in that commitment, you unlock a life that is more meaningful, more powerful, and more extraordinary than you ever imagined possible. Being different requires discipline, and discipline is not easy. It is a daily choice, a series of small decisions that define who you become. Every thought you allow, every action you take, every habit you build either strengthens your uniqueness or erodes it. Psychology shows that consistent practice rewires the brain, creating pathways that make focus, resilience, and confidence natural. Discipline is the bridge between the person you are now and the person you are meant to become. Without it, talent, creativity, and vision can go nowhere. With it, every step you take compounds, building momentum that grows quietly but relentlessly, transforming potential into unstoppable power. Discipline is not punishment, it is empowerment. It gives you control over your mind, your body, and your actions. It allows you to resist the distractions, doubts, and temptations that pull people into mediocrity. Each time you act with intentionality, each time you choose to align your daily habits with your values and goals, you reinforce your identity as someone who stands apart. Your difference becomes a muscle, strengthened by routine, practice, and unwavering commitment. The more disciplined you are, the less fear and uncertainty can control you. The more disciplined you are, the clearer your vision becomes, the sharper your focus, and the stronger your confidence in every decision you make. Every moment of discipline compounds into power. It allows you to move through fear without hesitation, to resist criticism without retreating, and to take action even when doubt is loud. Neuroscience shows that repeated, intentional actions strengthen neural connections, making self-control and clarity automatic over time. Each time you choose to follow your own path instead of giving in to comfort or expectation, you build habits that make your difference sustainable, not fleeting. Your life becomes a reflection of deliberate choices rather than reactive responses. You stop drifting and start steering, and the momentum created by consistent action carries you through challenges that will overwhelm those who lack this discipline. Discipline also protects your mind and energy. When you are disciplined, you no longer waste power on comparison, distraction, or the endless need for approval. Your focus becomes your greatest weapon. Your energy flows toward growth, mastery, and fulfillment rather than being scattered by fear or indecision. The habits you cultivate reinforce your values, your creativity, and your vision. They give structure to your difference, turning bold ideas into tangible results, chaotic energy into unstoppable force. Discipline allows you to live intentionally, to create momentum that cannot be shaken, to become the person capable of achieving what others only dream of. The reward for discipline is profound. It is freedom from doubt, freedom from distraction, freedom from the invisible chains that conformity places on the mind. It is the ability to think clearly, act decisively, and live authentically. When you commit to discipline, you are not just building habits, you are building a life that honors your uniqueness. You are creating the conditions for your difference to thrive, for your ideas to manifest, and for your vision to unfold without compromise. The more disciplined you become, the more unstoppable your journey, the more magnetic your energy, and the more powerful your presence. Your difference, fueled by discipline, becomes not just an advantage, it becomes your identity, your power, and your legacy. Being different requires a willingness to embrace risk, and risk is uncomfortable by nature. The moment you step off the path everyone else is walking, uncertainty rises. Fear whispers that you might fail, that you might be judged, that you might lose everything that feels safe. But growth, achievement, and transformation are born in that space of discomfort. Neuroscience and psychology show that humans develop resilience and creativity most profoundly when stretched beyond their comfort zones. Every challenge, every uncertainty, every calculated risk you face builds strength that cannot be gained from following the familiar. The people who accomplish extraordinary things are not those who avoid risk. They are those who move forward despite it. Your difference requires the same courage. Every choice to act differently, to pursue your vision when no one else understands it, is a test of your commitment to yourself. Fear is not a reason to stop. It is proof that you are on the right path. Every successful person has faced a tension between comfort and growth, safety and potential, conformity and authenticity. The difference is that they acted despite the fear. Each step you take into uncertainty sharpens your mind, fortifies your resolve, and deepens your trust in your own judgment. Risk is not chaos. It is a tool. It is the measure of your commitment to your vision and your willingness to prioritize growth over comfort. The more you embrace it, the more freedom you gain from the expectations and limitations others try to place on you. Embracing risk also strengthens your ability to innovate and think creatively. When you refuse to stay within the boundaries that others accept, your mind learns to find new solutions, to see opportunities where others see obstacles, and to adapt in ways that conventional thinking cannot. Cognitive science shows that facing novel challenges activates problem-solving areas of the brain and increases cognitive flexibility. Your difference thrives when you step into the unknown because it is in uncertainty that your unique ideas, perspectives, and talents are fully realized. Every decision that challenges the familiar reinforces your capacity to act boldly and decisively, making your individuality an unstoppable force rather than a vulnerability. The resistance and doubt from others are inevitable when you take risks. Society is comfortable with sameness and often reacts negatively to anyone who deviates. But their resistance is not a reflection of your potential. It is confirmation that you are doing something meaningful, something uncommon, something that requires courage. The more you continue forward despite judgment and fear, the more resilient and focused you become. You learn to trust your instincts, to follow your vision, and to value your own judgment over the opinions of the majority. Every risk you take that aligns with your purpose builds momentum, power, and clarity, transforming challenges into catalysts for growth. The reward for embracing risk is freedom, growth, and unparalleled opportunity. When you act differently, when you move through fear rather than retreat from it, you unlock doors that others cannot even see. You gain insight, confidence, and momentum that cannot be borrowed or imitated. Your life begins to reflect your vision, your energy, and your courage rather than the expectations of others. Difference, when paired with the willingness to risk, becomes not just a personal advantage. It becomes a force that propels your entire life forward. By stepping boldly into uncertainty, you claim the power, clarity, and fulfillment that only those willing to be different can experience. Your difference thrives on creativity, and creativity is not a luxury, it is a necessity. To be different, you must think in ways that others cannot, see solutions that others overlook, and imagine possibilities that others dismiss. The human brain is wired to reward novelty, innovation, and problem solving when we allow it to operate outside rigid boundaries. Every time you let your mind explore, question, and challenge the familiar, you strengthen the ability to act independently, decisively, and powerfully. Creativity fuels your individuality because it allows you to approach life on your own terms. It transforms your ideas into action and your action into impact. Without it, difference becomes random or superficial. With it, difference becomes deliberate, strategic, and unstoppable. Every person who has achieved greatness has relied on the power of thinking differently. They refused to accept limitations others took for granted. They challenged assumptions, broke patterns, and pursued ideas that seemed impossible. Science confirms that divergent thinking, the ability to generate unique solutions, is one of the strongest predictors of innovation, problem solving, and personal success. When you embrace your creativity fully, you tap into a resource that cannot be replicated or replaced. Your mind becomes your weapon, your vision becomes your compass, and your actions become deliberate steps toward a life no one else could design. Your difference is no longer an accident. It is a force that shapes reality. Creativity also allows you to navigate challenges with agility. The world is unpredictable, and those who rely solely on imitation are vulnerable to disruption. But those who cultivate originality and adaptability, thrive under pressure, find opportunities in chaos, and innovate when others give up. Each act of creative thinking strengthens resilience. Each solution born from your unique perspective reinforces your confidence. Every time you allow yourself to explore new ideas, even when they feel risky or unconventional, you are training your mind to operate from originality rather than fear or limitation. This is the essence of being different, acting and thinking in ways that align with your true self, not the scripts handed down by others. Your creativity is magnetic. People are drawn to those who see the world differently because it inspires them to question, grow, and expand themselves. Authentic originality creates influence without manipulation, leadership without command, and impact without permission. By embracing the power of your imagination, your perspective, and your innovative thinking, you create energy that attracts opportunity, collaboration, and growth. You no longer follow trends, you set them. You no longer imitate others, you inspire them. The world responds to originality because it represents possibility, courage, and strength. The reward of cultivating creativity is profound. It is the ability to navigate life with clarity, confidence, and flexibility. It is the freedom to act in alignment with your vision rather than the expectations of others. It is the power to turn your uniqueness into tangible results, influence, and momentum. When creativity guides your difference, you stop being a passive participant in life. You become an architect of your reality, a force that shapes your destiny, and a presence that commands respect without compromise. Your ideas, your actions, and your energy become extensions of your authentic self, unstoppable because they are rooted in originality and courage. By embracing your creativity, you transform difference from a challenge into your greatest strength, a power that propels every choice, every thought, and every step forward. People will judge you when you choose to be different, and judgment can feel heavy, invasive, and discouraging. It is natural to want approval, to want to feel accepted, but living for the validation of others is a trap that drains energy, dulls creativity, and limits growth. Social psychology shows that humans are wired to notice deviation and often respond with criticism, not because there's anything wrong with you, but because your courage exposes their own fear of stepping out of the familiar. Judgment is inevitable, but it is not a reflection of your worth, your ability, or your potential. It is a reflection of the comfort zones of those who watch from the sidelines. The stronger your commitment to being authentic, the less these judgments hold power over you. Every criticism you face is an opportunity to reinforce your resilience, to deepen your focus, and to prove to yourself that your path is worth pursuing. Resilience is born in the ability to continue despite resistance. When people doubt you, mock you, or criticize your choices, it is not a signal to stop. It is a signal that you are moving in a direction that matters. The more you cultivate internal strength, the less external opinions can sway your decisions. Neuroscience shows that repeated exposure to challenges and criticism, when met with focus and persistence, strengthens neural pathways associated with confidence, decision-making, and emotional control. Every act of endurance, every time you continue forward when others want to pull you back, reinforces the power of your individuality. You are not defined by what others think of you. You are defined by how you act in alignment with your own values, vision, and potential. Judgment also clarifies your purpose. Those who criticize often serve as markers, highlighting where you are pushing boundaries, where you are stepping into spaces that challenge the status quo. Instead of shrinking, use judgment as a compass. Let it show you the edges of conformity you are leaving behind. Let it remind you that your difference is visible, impactful, and necessary. Every time you persist despite skepticism, your confidence grows. Every time you act without seeking permission, your momentum increases. Judgment becomes powerless because your life is no longer controlled by fear. It is guided by clarity, authenticity, and determination. The ability to withstand judgment is also magnetic. People respect courage more than compliance. They respond to authenticity more than imitation. When you are unwavering in your vision, consistent in your values, and fearless in your pursuit of difference, your presence commands attention. Influence grows without manipulation. Leadership emerges without force. Inspiration spreads without words. Your life becomes a living example of power, resilience, and individuality. Others may follow the crowd, but you become a quiet signal of what is possible when someone refuses to surrender their truth. The reward of building resilience against judgment is profound. It is freedom from external control, freedom to act decisively, and freedom to live according to your own standards. It allows your difference to flourish without fear, to be fully expressed without compromise, and to create impact without apology. Each challenge, each criticism, and each skeptical glance becomes a stepping stone toward unstoppable clarity, confidence, and strength. When you embrace your difference fully, the judgment of others becomes irrelevant and the power of your authenticity becomes undeniable. Your life transforms into proof that courage, alignment, and self-trust are far more powerful than fear, approval, or conformity ever could be. Your difference is strengthened by focus, and focus is more powerful than talent, luck, or circumstance. The world is filled with distractions, opinions, and pressures that pull you in 100 directions, trying to dilute your energy, scatter your mind, and weaken your impact. Psychology shows that sustained attention on a single purpose or goal increases efficiency, strengthens neural connections, and builds momentum that compounds over time. Every moment you allow your focus to drift toward the trivial or the expectations of others, you give away power. But when you intentionally align your attention with your vision, your difference grows stronger, sharper, and more visible. Focus transforms potential into results and results into influence. Focus demands discipline, clarity, and unwavering commitment. It is not easy because the world constantly tests your ability to concentrate on what matters most. Every distraction you resist, every unnecessary worry you dismiss, every comparison you reject is a deliberate act of empowerment. Your mind becomes a weapon when trained to prioritize only what aligns with your values and purpose. Each act of concentration reinforces the identity of someone who is intentional, decisive, and unshakable. The more you focus, the more effortless your difference becomes because it is no longer scattered across competing opinions or fleeting desires. Your energy is concentrated, and concentrated energy creates unstoppable force. Sustained focus also allows creativity and innovation to flourish. When your attention is not fragmented, your mind has space to explore, connect ideas, and generate original solutions. Neuroscience shows that deep focus increases cognitive flexibility, problem-solving capacity, and the ability to make insightful connections. When you focus on your own path, rather than the noise of the crowd, your ideas gain clarity, your actions gain precision, and your presence gains authority. Difference is not a flash of inspiration, it is the product of relentless attention to what only you can create. Each moment of sustained focus builds a foundation that makes your individuality undeniable and impactful. Focus strengthens resilience as well. Life will throw challenges, doubts, and criticism at you. Without concentration, these external pressures can scatter your energy, cloud your judgment, and erode confidence. But when you are anchored by focus, obstacles become navigable, criticism becomes background noise, and setbacks become temporary tests of your persistence. Focus acts as a shield that protects your energy, preserves your clarity, and allows you to act decisively in alignment with your purpose. Your difference is no longer vulnerable to distraction or derailment. It becomes fortified, deliberate, and unstoppable. The reward of unwavering focus is extraordinary. It is the ability to achieve what others cannot because your mind is clear, your energy is concentrated, and your vision is uncompromised. It is the power to turn ambition into action, creativity into results, and uniqueness into influence. When you master focus, the world begins to respond differently. Doors open, opportunities emerge, and challenges that would overwhelm others are transformed into platforms for growth and innovation. Focus allows your difference to thrive, not as an accident or a fleeting trait, but as a deliberate, cultivated power that defines your life, amplifies your presence, and propels you toward extraordinary fulfillment. Every choice to concentrate on what truly matters is a choice to honor your potential, claim your vision, and assert your difference in a world that desperately needs it. Your difference demands courage, and courage is not a feeling, it is a choice. Every time you act in alignment with your vision, every time you express your authentic self, every time you step into uncertainty rather than retreat to comfort, you are choosing courage. Neuroscience confirms that repeated Acts of bravery, even small ones, strengthen the neural pathways associated with confidence, resilience, and decision-making. Courage is a skill cultivated through action, not a trait you are born with. Each decision to act boldly, to embrace your uniqueness, and to challenge conformity reinforces your identity as someone who is unshakable, capable, and powerful. Courage allows you to break free from the invisible chains of expectation. Most people live under the weight of what they think they should do, how they think they should behave, and what others will think of them. Living this way feels safe, but it is suffocating. It is the opposite of being different. Every time you choose courage over comfort, you reclaim control over your life. You signal to your mind, body, and spirit that your path is yours alone, and no external pressure can define your worth or dictate your direction. Courage transforms fear into fuel, hesitation into action, and self-doubt into clarity. It allows you to act decisively even when the outcome is uncertain, knowing that growth, fulfillment, and authenticity are always worth the risk. Courage also amplifies every other quality that makes you different. Focus becomes sharper, creativity becomes more fluid, resilience becomes stronger, and discipline becomes easy to sustain. Fear can paralyze, doubt can distract, and criticism can derail, but courage acts as the engine that keeps you moving forward regardless. Each act of bravery compounds with the last, creating a momentum that carries you through resistance, challenges, and setbacks. Your difference is no longer fragile or tentative. It becomes durable, intentional, and unstoppable. The world begins to recognize strength in your authenticity, and doors open that were previously invisible because you dared to step forward when others hesitated. The people who achieve extraordinary results are not the ones who wait for permission, approval, or perfect conditions. They are the ones who act despite fear, who embrace discomfort, and who consistently choose courage over conformity. Their lives are defined by deliberate decisions, bold action, and unwavering commitment to their vision. By choosing courage, you align yourself with the same force that drives innovation, leadership, and personal mastery. Every challenge becomes an opportunity to grow, every criticism becomes a test of your resolve, and every risk becomes a step closer to realizing the life that only you can create. The reward for cultivating courage is profound. It is the ability to act decisively in alignment with your values, to create impact without hesitation, and to live authentically without compromise. Courage allows your difference to shine brightly, to inspire others, and to create momentum that cannot be replicated or stolen. When fear no longer controls your actions, you become the architect of your life, capable of shaping reality according to your vision, rather than the expectations of the crowd. Every decision to act boldly, to honor your individuality, and to confront discomfort strengthens your power, your clarity, and your presence. Courage turns difference into your greatest advantage, a force that drives transformation, achievement, and fulfillment in every area of your life. Your difference grows stronger when you take responsibility for your life, and true responsibility is liberating. Most people live in reaction. They blame circumstances, other people, or luck for where they are. They give away their power because they refuse to accept that their choices, thoughts, and actions determine their results. Psychology consistently shows that individuals who take full responsibility for their lives experience higher levels of self-efficacy, motivation, and fulfillment. Responsibility is not a burden. It is the ultimate source of freedom. When you own your decisions, your failures, and your successes, you reclaim control over your energy, your vision, and your potential. Taking responsibility requires honesty with yourself. It demands that you stop making excuses and stop deflecting blame. It forces you to confront uncomfortable truths about your habits, mindset, and priorities. But this confrontation is not punishment. It is empowerment. Every insight gained, every adjustment made, every action taken from a place of accountability strengthens your capacity to live differently. You begin to recognize that no one else can define your path, and no external factor has the authority to dictate your worth. Your difference is no longer dependent on external validation or circumstance. It becomes a reflection of your conscious choices, your effort, and your alignment with your purpose. Responsibility fuels momentum. When you stop waiting for permission or blaming conditions, you act. You act decisively, consistently, and relentlessly toward your vision. Neuroscience confirms that proactive behavior, rooted in self-determination, strengthens neural pathways associated with confidence, clarity, and focus. Every action you take from accountability compounds into results, building an unstoppable force over time. Your life becomes a mirror of your intentions, and your difference emerges as a natural consequence of consistent, empowered action. The energy that was previously wasted on excuses and avoidance is redirected into creating, achieving, and evolving. Embracing responsibility also enhances resilience. Challenges, setbacks, and criticism no longer have the power to paralyze you because you understand that you control your response. When you own both your victories and your failures, you learn faster, adapt more effectively, and grow stronger with every experience. Resistance becomes fuel, mistakes become lessons, and obstacles become opportunities. Your difference is reinforced because it is grounded in action, accountability, and a relentless pursuit of your vision. You no longer drift through life, you steer with precision, clarity, and unwavering commitment to your unique path. The reward of full responsibility is profound. It is freedom from external control, freedom from excuses, and freedom from wasted energy. It is the ability to direct your life according to your own standards, values, and vision. When you embrace accountability, your difference becomes intentional, deliberate, and sustainable. Your ideas, creativity, courage, and focus align to create momentum that cannot be undermined by fear, criticism, or comparison. Every choice to take responsibility strengthens your identity, amplifies your power, and asserts your presence in the world. Responsibility turns difference into mastery, potential into achievement, and vision into reality, allowing you to live a life that is fully yours, unshakable, and extraordinary. Your difference is magnified by consistency, and consistency is the foundation of transformation. Talent, creativity, and courage are powerful, but without persistent effort, they fade into potential that is never realized. Psychology and behavioral science show that habits formed through repetition strengthen neural pathways, making success, resilience, and focus automatic over time. Every action repeated with intention compounds, turning small steps into unstoppable momentum. When you commit to being consistent in your thoughts, decisions, and actions, your uniqueness solidifies into power. Your difference stops being accidental and becomes deliberate, visible, and undeniable. Consistency demands patience and perseverance. The world often celebrates instant results, but the greatest transformations occur gradually through repetition and sustained effort. Each day you show up aligned with your values. Each moment you choose action over procrastination. Each decision to prioritize your vision over comfort. You are building momentum that cannot be reversed. Neuroscience confirms that repeated behaviors create lasting neural patterns, which means the more consistently you act in alignment with your difference, the more natural and effortless it becomes. Your life begins to reflect your intentional choices rather than the whims of distraction or external influence. Being consistent also deepens your credibility and influence. When your actions match your words, when your effort is unwavering, and when your dedication is visible over time, others recognize strength, authenticity, and reliability. Your difference becomes magnetic because it is grounded in reality, not in fleeting inspiration or empty promises. People are drawn to those who operate with integrity and persistence because they represent stability, vision, and confidence. By being consistent, you elevate your impact and create an environment where your uniqueness is both respected and inspiring. Consistency fuels resilience as well. Challenges, setbacks, and failures are inevitable, but repeated commitment creates a buffer against discouragement. Each act of persistence, no matter how small, reinforces the belief in your own capability and builds a mental framework that allows you to navigate obstacles with clarity and determination. The longer you sustain effort in alignment with your vision, the stronger your identity becomes. Your difference is no longer fragile or dependent on circumstances. It becomes reinforced by action, strengthened by discipline, and validated through results. The reward of consistency is extraordinary. It is the transformation of potential into achievement, of intention into impact, and of vision into reality. When you are consistent, your energy is focused, your decisions are aligned, and your difference is undeniable. Momentum accumulates silently but powerfully, creating progress that is unstoppable and irreversible. Every small, deliberate action compounds into a life that reflects your values, your courage, and your originality. Consistency turns difference into mastery, uniqueness into authority, and vision into a legacy. By committing to the discipline of showing up every day, you solidify your presence, magnify your impact, and claim the extraordinary life that only your dedication and authenticity can create.